Hello and welcome back to Core4Adventures. We just got back from an amazing 7-day cruise on the NCL Encore to Alaska, and we thought we'd share with you some of our packing tricks and tips.
And make sure you stay to the very end of this video because we're going to tell you the 2 things that we would not take with us the next time we go. So the first tip that we have is I'm a planner, and I do a spreadsheet, a packing spreadsheet, where I plan out what each person is going to wear for each activity every single day of the cruise. It makes it so easy to make sure that you're not overpacking. It also makes it easy when you're getting ready that day to just look at the list and see what you have already planned. It takes all the guesswork out of it. I highly recommend having a plan.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is packing layers. You're going on an Alaskan cruise. You think it's going to be cold every day, but if the sun comes out, the ports can be warm and the ship can be warm from time to time as well. So make sure to bring lots of shorter sleeved shirts as well as something to throw over the top of them so that when you get hot, you can take the layers off, and when you get cold, you can just add something back on top of it.
And don't be afraid to rewear clothing or get your clothing laundered on the ship, or even do a little laundry in your bathroom. Because when you are on a cruise ship, sometimes you're changing your clothes a couple times a day, and you may only be wearing an outfit for a couple hours. Hang it back up and wear it the next day, and that cuts down on the packing that you have to bring with you.
And don't forget to pack a couple dress outfits. We like to kind of dress up for dinner. It's not required on an NCL cruise, but it makes us feel like we had a special night. And so 1 or 2 for the whole trip, you can make those work re-wearing them since you are only wearing them for a couple hours a day. And it makes you feel special, like you had a nice night.
So now let's talk outerwear. This is one of the things that we probably debated the most when we were packing and planning for our Alaskan cruise. What we ultimately settled on was layers. We all had a warm layer like a fleece jacket or a hoodie, and then a waterproof outer layer with these great Columbia rain jackets. This way, if we were warm, we could just wear the rain jacket, or if it wasn't raining and we're a little colder, we could just wear the fleece. It gave us maximum versatility, and that is what we actually do recommend if you are heading to Alaska yourself.
And don't forget to pack gloves and a hat. If you don't remember to bring a hat, most of the port cities do have hats for sale, so you could always pick one up. They'll tuck in your pockets, and you'll really be thankful, especially for those gloves.
And finally, one tip that we have is to bring a pashmina or a shawl with you, because you can just throw this over your shoulder, especially at night on the ship when you're all dressed up, and it may be a little bit chilly, so you never know. So we do recommend that you bring a shawl or a pashmina with you. And if you're going to a port stop that has a cathedral or a religious area that you need to cover your shoulders, you've got that in your bag and you can just pull it out and take care of that. So it is definitely, again, a very versatile item.
So next we're going to talk about our shoes. This was another area that we really debated. We watched quite a few videos before we went, and everyone said you had to bring waterproof shoes. We agonized over this and finally decided not to bring them. We brought our most comfortable walking shoes. They were water resistant, but not waterproof, and we did just fine. It even rained on us a couple of times when we were in port, and yeah, our feet got a little bit wet, but within a few hours they were dry, and it saved us a lot of room in our suitcase.
Now, we didn't do any of the excursions where we were out like walking on a glacier or anything like that, so that may change your plan if you are doing one of those things, but we just did a couple hikes, walked around port, did the train ride, and we found that our comfortable walking shoes were the best option. And then the next item is probably surprising, and we wouldn't travel without our flip-flops. We got the spa package the entire week we were on the ship, so we used our flip-flops every single day to go from our cabins to the spa, and we also used them when we were just walking around our cabin. They're flat, easy to pack, so definitely take a pair of flip-flops. And speaking of flat and easy to pack, dress sandals. If you're dressing up at night, throw in a pair of dress sandals. They take up a lot less room than heels, and they give you still that fancy feeling. And we find if you get a neutral pair that can go with all of your dresses, again, it takes up less room in your luggage.
So the next category we want to talk about is accessories to make your life easier. The first thing we're going to talk about is packing cubes. Now, it can be a very controversial thing. There are a lot of people who are really pro packing cube and a lot of people who are really anti packing cube. I think for the 4 of us, we all are pro packing cube. It's really nice to keep things organized in your luggage, and it helps in the cruise cabin as well. A lot of them only have shelves and don't have drawers, so we just keep the items in the bags, and so everything's well organized and it makes it a lot easier.
And when I empty one, I put my dirty clothes right back in it, and so it makes packing when you're getting off the ship so much easier. So the next thing on our list is a day pack. So if you're going to these port stops, you're going to want a bag where you can throw a few items in it to take off the ship while you're on your excursions, and you may not want to take a really big piece of luggage. So the one that we recommend is this day pack from Tripped Travel Gear. We watched Tim and Finn on YouTube. That's right, and we bought your bags, and we absolutely love them. They fold up into themselves into this small container, and they expand to a full-size backpack. And one of my favorite features of this backpack is the sunglass section, where it's got an entire lining that protects your sunglasses in one little zipper pouch. So we will put the link for this in the description box below, because this one was a definite hit.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is luggage tag holders. Now, most people print their luggage tags off from NCL, and you can just staple it around the handle of your suitcase. But it always makes me a little nervous that it's going to get ripped off and then your luggage is going to get lost. And eventually they may get it to you, but I don't want to spend a couple days at the beginning of the cruise not having my stuff. So we purchased these little luggage tag holders from Amazon. We'll put that in the description box below. It's so small to go in your luggage while you're flying there, and we just put it on in the port city, and we know that our luggage tags are going to be secure and our luggage is going to get where it needs to go.
And another item that we use so that we don't lose our bags are these. These are Apple AirTags. These are a great little device that you can throw into your checked bag, and it connects to your iPhone. So if your bag does get lost in the airport or the cruise port, you can look up on your phone to find the location of your bag. It just gives us some extra peace of mind. It is an investment, but you do it one time and then you can use them over and over and over again.
So shifting gears just a little bit into our cabins, one other thing that we like to bring are magnetic hooks. There's all kinds of different ones you can get, ones with clips. These are hooks. I do highly recommend one that's a little stronger of a magnet. I got some that were 25 pound to start with, and they really don't hold much other than our cruise lanyard. You try to hang a jacket up or even your bag, and it's just going to slide down the wall. But something here like this 100-pound one holds just about anything. All the walls in your cabin are metal, so it can attach, and it really helps us keep ourselves organized.
Now, this is another controversial thing on the cruise ships. There are people that are anti-cruise lanyard and people that are pro-cruise lanyard, and we are pro-cruise lanyard. It makes it so simple to keep your key card in these little pouches. Now, the key card is your room key. It gets your drink package, your food package. If you have access to the spa, if you want to do any of the games on the ship, you're going to need this for absolutely everything. It's also the only thing you need. You don't have to carry cash around with you. So we get these cruise lanyards because then we can just wear them around our neck, grab them as we're going out of the room, and we always have it with us. We aren't on a cruise to try to impress anybody, so we don't mind wearing it around our neck.
And speaking of things that really help make the cruise a little more enjoyable, we always bring these little towel clips with us. Now, when we are on a more tropical cruise, it's great to use them on the top deck to hold your towel on the chair so it doesn't blow away. That is their intended purpose. But you can use these for lots of things, including hanging things on the clothesline in your room. Or Carol really loves using them to hold her curtains closed so that she has a really dark room for sleeping.
They've come in handy so many times. So the next item is a kind of a secret that we have, which is that we do not travel with our real jewelry. We buy travel rings that are under $20. They look nice, but that way we're not risking taking our real wedding rings out, and if we lose it or it gets stolen, we'd be devastated. So we get these travel wedding rings, and they look fantastic, and nobody knows the difference, and it just gives us a little peace of mind. And one thing that we just got this year that I'm absolutely obsessed with are these little travel jewelry cases. This one has my name on it. How cute is that? And then inside it's got room for necklaces, bracelets, rings, really everything that you need for a week-long trip, and it doesn't get your stuff all tangled up, and it's just a really easy way to put the jewelry in your luggage and have it get to your destination safely.
So the next thing we're going to talk about has to do with our hair. We're curly-haired girls, and we can't just necessarily use the terry cloth towels that they provide for us to dry our hair. So we always pack a little travel hair towel as well as a diffuser. I got this on Amazon. It's collapsible. It's easy and it hooks on to just about any blow dryer. And they provide one in the room. It worked just fine on the Encore's blow dryer, and it allowed me to take something really small so that I could still have my curls looking good on the trip.
It was life-changing for us this last trip. So the next thing that I make sure I put in my suitcase when I'm going on a cruise is a highlighter. Why? Well, the cruise still gives you a paper cruise daily, and that tells you all of the activities on the ship. So every night I like to go through with my highlighter and highlight the things that I may want to check out. It just keeps me organized and on top of things so I don't miss the fun activities that they've got in the atrium or any of the entertainment that they've got coming up, and I can just get my day planned out because, again, I am a planner.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is our laundry. One of the things that you can do is bring some little travel tide. This one's specifically for washing your clothes in the sink, and there is a little clothesline in your bathroom. So if you bring less items and want to wash a few, it really comes in handy. And of course, we always bring Downy Wrinkle Releaser. Your clothes are going to get a little wrinkled in your suitcase, and this really helps. As soon as we get into the room, we unpack it all, we spray it with Wrinkle Releaser and hang it in the closet. And by the time we're ready to wear it, most of the wrinkles are gone.
And a bonus, it makes everything smell fantastic. So the next thing I cannot travel without is a pair of earplugs. Now, you never know where you're going to be on the cruise. You could hear engine noise, you could hear noise from the restaurants or the entertainment venues, or maybe your spouse snores and you're trying to get some sleep. These come in such good use, and these are the ones that I found that work the best, so I'm definitely going to put the link in the description down below. These are called Spark Plugs by Moldex, and sometimes you get earplugs and they're not that effective. These really do work, and there are also some fun colors as well.
So the next thing we're going to talk about has to do with the size of your cabin. It's small, you're sharing it with other people, you're eating a lot of really rich food on the trip, and so one thing that you can do to be polite is bring something like poopery. I actually use this all the time. I keep it in my bathrooms at home and keep it in my travel toiletries. It's just something nice that you can do to kind of help with all of that.
The next item not to forget is to bring some cash and small bills for tips. Now, of course, it is all inclusive. Maybe you prepaid your gratuities, but you will still need some cash, maybe to tip the porter. The traditional thing to tip is $1 to $2 per bag when you drop off your bags in port. You may need to have tips for transportation, or maybe you want to get something when you're in a port stop. It's just a good idea to have some cash on hand at all times in small bills, and that's a tip for you.
So the next section we're going to move on to is electronics. The first electronic everybody's going to bring with them is their phone. Now, of course, you're going to be on the ocean, and so your phone's not going to work like normal, but most people with their free at sea do get a few free minutes of Wi-Fi. That is for both phones in the cabin. That was something that we didn't realize on our first cruise. So pro tip, each person gets those number of minutes. Hook up to it, use them. They do disappear the last night, so don't expect to be able to get on that last night. One extra thing to think about is if you have an iPhone, you can iMessage each other. It works perfectly fine, and it doesn't cost you roaming or anything like that. And if not, NCL does have a way to do messaging on their app from person to person while you're on the ship.
You'll definitely want to have a phone to use the cruise ship app while you are on the cruise ship as well to find out all of the things that are going on, make reservations, and again, you can message people. We are all iPhone users, so we can just use the iMessaging. It's super convenient. So the next item that we bring in the electronics category is our Kindles. We both love to read, especially on vacation, and this way you can download multiple books to one device and save so much room in your luggage. I like to read when I'm at the spa, maybe sitting out on the pool deck, on our balcony, and it just makes things super, super easy.
And of course, with all of these electronics, you really want to think about power. One thing that we always bring to help with that is a backup battery. This one's fantastic. It has little adapters for every kind of electronic you would want to be charging attached within the battery, and they're great because they're portable. You can charge while you're still using the device, and let's face it, you're using tons of battery on that phone on this trip, especially if you're using your phone to take a lot of pictures as well.
Speaking of power adapters, I've got this little one that I really like because it can take advantage of the European plugs that are in the cruise ship, and it gives you 3 different USB ports in one different travel adapter, and it's really small, and I just throw it in my luggage. This is one I think I got for free, but if you can find this on Amazon, we will put a link down below as well, because this again can take one outlet and turn it into charging 3 different devices.
So speaking of all of the pictures you're going to be taking, one thing we always bring on our trips is a selfie stick. It helps you to get a better perspective on your pictures, and it allows you to take group photos without having to hand your phone off to other people. Ours attaches via Bluetooth to our phone, so we've got a button down here to take the photos with. We really like this one, and we'll link it in the description box below.
This next item may be my favorite travel hack ever, and that is this. It is a phone holder that is also a clip that can clip on the back of a seat tray of an airplane or really anywhere. So it's really easy to use. It works with any phone, so you just put your phone in the top here, and then it's got this clip on the bottom, and you can turn it all different ways. We all got one of these for our birthday last year because our mom sent them to us. So thanks Mom. We love them, and we will never travel without them.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is binoculars. We went on an Alaskan cruise, and we wanted to make sure we could really get a good view of all of those glaciers and things that we were coming for. So make sure you get a good quality pair of binoculars.
So now we're going into our very next category, which is how to prevent seasickness. This was something that we were very concerned about before we went on our first cruise, so we came armed with everything. We've got the generic Bonine, we've got Dramamine, and we even have the sea bands, which are the things that you wear upon your wrist that give you some acupressure. Honestly, we didn't have to use any of these because of the next item that Laura is going to be telling you about.
So I was very concerned about seasickness. I have had motion sickness problems in the past, and it was really concerning to me. So I spoke to my doctor about it, and she prescribed me something called fish patches. The medication name is scopolamine patch, and it's just a little patch you put right behind your ear. You change it every 3 days on your cruise. It is by prescription, but most people's doctors will prescribe it with no problem if you tell them you're going on a cruise, and it really made a difference.
I tried not to use them on our first cruise, and after the first night laying down in bed, I was getting a little queasy. I got up, I put that on behind my ear, and never had a problem since then. So if you are prone to seasickness or motion sickness, talk to your doctor, get a prescription, because you do not have to suffer. So let's talk about the 2 things that we would do differently if we're packing for our next Alaskan cruise. First up, we did so much research where people said, pack bug spray. The state bird of Alaska is the mosquito, and you are gonna get eaten alive. So we listened, and we took this giant bottle of bug spray. And you know what? We didn't use it once. So I took up all of this room in my luggage for no reason at all. So next time, I may still take bug spray, but I'm gonna get the little travel container, because even if we were hiking out in nature, we had on clothing that covered pretty much our whole body. We didn't get bothered by the bugs at all. Maybe we got lucky, maybe we didn't. But again, I would only take the travel size, not the big full-size bottle of bug spray.
The last thing that we would probably do differently is actually the binoculars. So we really wanted to make sure that we could see those glaciers up close and personal. And I do highly recommend you get a good quality pair of binoculars. Nikon is a great company. It's got excellent optics, but they make a much smaller one of these. And I think that would have been better because we only used it that one day, and it took up so much space in our suitcase. So we'll put the links in the description box below for both the bigger one that we have and the smaller one that we would recommend.
And they are heavy too. So even though it takes up a lot of space, but it also adds weight to your suitcase. So go with the smaller one if you're not going to be into the wildlife watching and using the binoculars every single day. Well, there you have it. Those are our tips and tricks that we learned when we were packing for our first Alaskan cruise. And I really hope it helps you if you're planning your own trip in the future.
And if you have any tips and tricks that we didn't come up with, please tell us in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time on Core4 Adventures.
Bye.